Today is an important victory for me and for the UN human rights system. But it by no means erases 7 years of detention without charge, in prison, under house arrest, and almost 5 years here in this embassy without sunlight. 7 years without charge, why my children grew up without me. That is not something that I can forgive. It is not something that I can forget. The inevitable inquiry into what has occurred in this moment of terrible injustice is something that I hope will be more than just about me and this situation, because the reality is detention and extradition without charge has become a feature of the European Union. A feature which has been exploited, yes, in my case, for political reasons, but in other cases has subjected many people to terrible injustice. In Sweden, indefinite detention is a policy. There is no time limit that someone can be detained without charge. That is not how we expect a civilized state to behave. Similarly, extradition without charge is not something that we expect from the rule of law in the United Kingdom. It's a measure that was introduced as part of the European Union system to turn the European Union into a federation. In 2014, in response to my situation and other abuses, the UK government changed the law to prevent further extradition without charge from the UK, but it is still a problem in the rest of the European Union. I would like to thank, in this situation, the United Nations, particularly its human rights system, which is the last resort that we all have when we are bound up in our legal circumstances with the particular politics of a country or the geopolitics that exists between different states. I would also like to thank Ecuador, its people, and its asylum system, who have stood by my asylum despite very intense pressure, including pressure to use the European Union's trade system to penalize Ecuadorian exporters. A terrible violation. I'd also like to thank my legal team who've worked very hard and for no money, and all the other people that have stood by me in this process. But let us understand, while today was an important victory and an important vindication, the road is far from over. The war, the proper war, is just commencing. The UK has said it will arrest me regardless. Now, the United States, CIA Director Pompeo and the US Attorney General have said that I and other WikiLeaks staff have no rights. We have no First Amendment rights, and that my arrest and the arrest of our other staff is a priority. That's not acceptable. WikiLeaks will continue its publications. Today, in fact, we published new important material from the Central Intelligence Agency, CIA Vault 7 Athena, a system to penetrate and spy in a statistical way anyone that the CIA happens to be interested in. Such measures are conducted without warrant, and the threats towards me, my staff, and WikiLeaks as a publisher will not be tolerated and have not been tolerated. Our publications are proceeding at speed, and that speed in relation to the CIA is accelerating.
Julian, are you going to surrender to your bail here in London?
Finally,
you just tell us the truth?
Finally, in relation to the asylum rights that we all have, we do all have them. The United Kingdom, the European Union, is a party to the 1951 Convention on Refugees. It states that it adheres to the right for all people to seek asylum, to receive asylum, and to enjoy asylum. I have that right in a political case. We all have that right. So the claim by the United Kingdom that it has a right to arrest me for seeking asylum in a case where there have been no charges, which has now been dismissed, is simply untenable.
So will you leave the embassy now?
My staff, my legal staff, have contacted the United Kingdom authorities, and we hope to engage in a dialogue about what is the best way forward. To some extent, the United Kingdom has been exploited by the process that it entered into with the European Union, where it agreed to extradite people without charge or any consideration as to the facts. That is, to an extent, a forced position that the United Kingdom has been a forced position that the United Kingdom has been put into, and the first part of that is over. The UK refuses to confirm or deny at this stage whether a US extradition warrant is already in the UK territory. So that's the dialogue that we want to happen. Similarly with the United States, while there have been extremely threatening remarks made, I'm always happy to engage in a dialogue with the Department of Justice about what has occurred. Finally, we have had another very important victory this week, even more important and more conclusive than the one we have achieved today. And that is the release of Chelsea Manning from prison after 7 years detained in a military prison. Through an extensive fight, we and others managed to have him released 28 years early from his sentence, alleged WikiLeaks source Chelsea Manning. So some very important victories, but the legal conflict with the United States and the United Kingdom at a formal level continues, and I and WikiLeaks as a publisher encourage you to continue to support us in that fight. For us, of course, for our alleged sources, but also because precedents are being set. The precedent about whether people have the right to seek asylum, and the precedent about whether we have the right to publish information, all of us. How can it be that a journalist and publisher operating from Europe can be extradited to the United States? We don't operate in the United States. We don't publish from the United States. So that's a threat to all journalists around the world, wherever they operate, that if they expose serious abuses occurring in the national security domain, there's a threat to extradite them, or indict their organization or their staff. Okay, that's it. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.